The 2026 FIFA World Cup is the most ambitious tournament in football history. For the first time ever, three nations, the United States, Mexico, and Canada, are co-hosting the world's most watched sporting event. 48 teams, 104 matches, 16 venues spread across 11 cities and 4,500 kilometers of North America. And somewhere in that extraordinary collection of arenas, 5 stadiums stand completely apart. These are not just big. These are architectural masterpieces, historical monuments, and technological wonders. 5 venues that will make 2026 the most visually spectacular World Cup ever played. Welcome to Fresh Top 5. We are ranking these 5 stadiums by a combination of sheer scale, architectural insanity, historical significance, technological innovation, and the matches they are hosting. One of these venues will host the World Cup final on July 19, 2026. One is the most expensive sports venue ever built, and one has been standing since 1966 and is still the largest stadium on this list. Let's count them down. Coming in at number 5, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's start with the roof, because there is no roof quite like this anywhere else on Earth. Inspired by the aperture of a camera lens, Mercedes-Benz Stadium's retractable roof is made up of 8 triangular petals that open and close, revealing a circular oculus of sky above the playing surface. When it is fully open, you look up from your seat and see a perfect circle of Georgia sky above you. When it closes, the 360-degree video halo ring, one of the largest LED screens in the world, illuminates the entire interior in whatever color the moment demands. Mercedes-Benz Stadium cost $1.5 billion to build and opened in 2017. It is the home of NFL's Atlanta Falcons and MLS side Atlanta United, and it has already hosted a Super Bowl. For the 2026 World Cup, its capacity will be expanded to approximately 75,000 to host 8 matches, including a semifinal. Standing inside this stadium when it is full and the halo ring is blazing is described by everyone who has experienced it as unlike anything else in sport. Atlanta United already holds the MLS single-game attendance record. 73,019 fans packed into this stadium for a regular season match. Imagine what a World Cup semifinal will look, sound, and feel like in this building. The city of Atlanta is one of the most culturally rich in America. The birthplace of Martin Luther King Jr., home to Delta Airlines and Coca-Cola, and a city that knows how to host the world. Number 5 on our list, but first class in every other sense. Number 4, SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, Los Angeles, the most expensive sports venue ever built on the face of the earth. At a cost of over $5.5 billion, this stadium made every other sports venue in history look like it was built on a budget. And when you walk inside it for the first time, you understand every single dollar spent. SoFi Stadium opened in 2020 and immediately redefined what a sports venue can be. It is not a stadium, it is a destination. The roof is not the typical closed dome, it is a translucent ETFE canopy, a lightweight, transparent material that lets sunlight flood in while protecting 70,000 fans from rain and the California heat. Open sides allow natural airflow. The result is a stadium that feels both intimate and vast simultaneously. And then there is the video board, a 2-sided oval screen hovering above the pitch, 70,000 square feet of display surface. That is larger than the entire playing field beneath it. The images it produces are so crisp that fans in the last row can see individual blades of grass on the screen. For the 2026 World Cup, SoFi Stadium will be named the Los Angeles Stadium and will host 8 matches, including the USA's opening game and a quarterfinal. Los Angeles last hosted World Cup football in 1994, when the Rose Bowl in Pasadena staged the final. In 2028, SoFi Stadium will also host events at the Los Angeles Olympic Games. Taylor Swift, BTS, Ed Sheeran, this stadium has hosted the biggest entertainers on Earth. The 2026 World Cup adds the world's biggest sport to that extraordinary CV. Number 3. MetLife Stadium in New Earthard, New Jersey, home of the New York Giants and New York Jets, and on July 19, 2026, home of the FIFA World Cup final. The most watched sporting event on the planet, with an estimated television audience of over 1 billion people, will be decided in this stadium, in the shadow of the greatest city on Earth, New York City. That alone makes this the most historically significant venue of the entire tournament. MetLife Stadium has a capacity of 82,500, making it the third largest venue in this World Cup. But its power is not just in numbers, it's in context. This stadium sits 8 miles from Times Square. It sits in the orbit of the world's most famous skyline. Fans flying in for the World Cup final on July 19, 2026 will land at JFK or Newark, drive past that iconic Manhattan horizon, and walk into a stadium that knows how to host the biggest occasions. MetLife has hosted the Super Bowl, the Copa America final, and the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup final and semifinals. On July 19, 2026, the last 2 nations standing in the biggest World Cup in history will walk out onto the MetLife pitch, knowing that 1 billion people are watching. The noise, the color, the stakes, the Manhattan skyline glowing in the distance — there is no stage more dramatic for a World Cup final than this. For that reason alone, MetLife Stadium earns its place at number 3 on this list.
Number 2. Estadio Azteca in Mexico City. Let's establish something immediately. Every other stadium on this list was built after the year 2000. Estadio Azteca was built in 1966. It has been standing for nearly 60 years, and it will become the only stadium in history to host a FIFA World Cup in 3 different decades: 1970, 1986, and 2026. That is a record no other venue on Earth holds or is ever likely to hold. The Azteca is not just a stadium, it is football's most sacred site. In 1986, Diego Maradona played 2 of the most famous moments in football history on this pitch on the same afternoon. First, the hand of God, a deliberate punch into the England net that he later said was scored a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God. 4 minutes later, on the same pitch, the same man scored the goal of the century, a 60-meter solo run past 5 English players that is still rated by a landslide as the greatest goal ever scored, both in the same match at the Azteca in the quarterfinal of the 1986 World Cup. With a capacity of 87,523, the second largest at this World Cup, and sitting at 2,200 meters above sea level, the Azteca imposes itself on every match it hosts. The altitude affects breathing, stamina, and ball flight. Players who have never played at altitude before simply struggle. It gives Mexico a home advantage unlike anything in international football. For 2026, the Azteca hosts the tournament opener, making it the only stadium to ever host the opening match of 3 separate World Cups, from 1970 to 2026. 60 years of football's greatest stage. No venue carries more history. And the most insane stadium hosting the 2026 World Cup, AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, known as the Death Star. And when you see it, you understand exactly why. This is not a stadium. This is a monument to excess, ambition, and the Texan refusal to be second at anything. AT&T Stadium is the largest venue at the 2026 World Cup, with a capacity of 94,000 for the tournament, making it the biggest stadium hosting World Cup football in the modern era. It is home to the Dallas Cowboys, the most valuable sports franchise on Earth, and it operates like a separate world unto itself. The video board. Let's talk about the video board. Suspended above the playing surface, AT&T Stadium's center-hung video display is the largest in any sports venue on the planet. It is 160 feet wide and 72 feet tall on each side. Watching a match inside this stadium means watching the live action on the pitch and simultaneously watching it on a screen above you that is so large it has its own gravitational pull. When England played Germany in a friendly here in 2014, the ball struck the video board during a punt and the referees had to pause the match. That is how low it hangs. The stadium has a retractable roof, sliding glass end zone doors, and 15,000 televisions embedded throughout its concourses. It also functions as one of the largest contemporary art museums in the United States, over 130 commissioned artworks installed across the venue. Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys owner who commissioned this stadium, described his ambitions simply. He wanted to build the eighth wonder of the world. Walking into AT&T Stadium for the first time, most people believe he succeeded. For the 2026 World Cup, AT&T Stadium, officially called the Dallas Stadium, will host 9 matches, including a quarterfinal. 9 matches in the biggest stadium at the tournament, 94,000 people per game. The noise in a venue this size when a World Cup goal is scored will be heard across the city of Dallas. This is not just the most insane stadium at the 2026 World Cup, it may be the most insane stadium on Earth. AT&T Stadium, Estadio Azteca, MetLife Stadium, SoFi Stadium, and Mercedes-Benz Stadium. 5 venues, 5 completely different stories. The Death Star in Texas, football's most historic ground in Mexico City, the World Cup final beneath the Manhattan skyline, the most expensive stadium ever built in Hollywood's backyard, and Atlanta's architectural miracle that opens like a camera lens. The 2026 World Cup is going to be extraordinary, and these 5 stadiums are the reason why. Which one do you want to watch a match in most? Drop your answer in the comments right now. Subscribe to Fresh Top 5. We drop a brand new Top 5 every week.